When I was a child, there were only a few genres of video games that I wasn't allowed to play.
There were your typical banned genres, like anything horror-related or overly violent, but those weren't really the kinds of games I was pining after.
The games I would dream about having enough courage to ask my parents' permission to play were MMORPGs.
Sporting massive worlds, hundreds of hours of quests to embark on, and lively communities made of individual gamers living in parallel with one another, MMOs really are what gaming is all about. Ever since I caught wind of the concept of MMORPGs, I really wanted in on them. And due to my overeagerness towards games that could occasionally, maybe possibly, lead me to ignoring my homework, my parents restricted me from playing them.
I'm not sure if that was a good thing or a bad thing, because I did go hard on MMOs for a little while, but I don't really play them anymore.
I think my path from MMO fanatic to detractor is fairly interesting, so today I'm going to walk you through my MMO journey.
We'll go through the games that I played, the top moments and memories I have from each of them, and ultimately, I'll try and answer the question as to why MMOs and I don't get along anymore.
The first MMO I remember playing was LEGO Universe. Launched in October of 2010, LEGO Universe was marketed like crazy on the back of LEGO boxes and instruction manuals, but I seriously remember nothing about it besides the general concept being minifigures needing to band together to save the world. I think there were a few factions that were either fighting or teaming up, and unfortunately, the game shut down after an egregiously short lifespan of just 2 years. Thankfully, dedicated fans have worked to bring the game back into a playable state, so it's possible to see what the gameplay was like. What do you mean this is the wrong game?
Okay, there are a handful of community-sustained servers, but I'm not smart enough to figure out which ones are legit and which ones are trying to steal my identity, credit card, social security number, girlfriend, and pink slip to my truck.
I'm too scared of the internet, so this is LEGO Fortnite Odyssey instead. It's whatever, let's move on. Wikipedia says LEGO Universe's gameplay consisted of leveling up, collecting gear, battling enemies with people from around the world, and, of course, building with LEGO bricks on your own property.
I do not know what building a house did. Maybe it wasn't for anything at all. Geez, I really phoned this segment in, didn't I? Oh well, at least I still have my Sabrina skin.
For the next handful of years, the only game I really played was Minecraft. While the single-player game ate up a majority of my time, I ventured onto a handful of servers as well.
There were your typical minigame servers, sure, but the one applicable to our conversation today
was Wynncraft, the Minecraft MMO. Made by a dedicated team of developers, builders, writers, and more, Wynncraft is a fully fledged MMO game built within Minecraft, powered by in-game mechanics such as redstone and command blocks, and, more recently, by custom-written server plugins. Anyone can log into Wynncraft without having to install any external mods and experience the full breadth of the quests, combat, dungeons, and community without paying a single cent.
Out of all the MMOs I've played, this one is definitely the most impressive, based solely on its origins and the scale that the team was able to achieve entirely on their own.
I had two primary eras of Wynncraft, the exploration era and the content creator era. When I first discovered the game, I played it for hours and hours on end, both with friends and by myself. I even got my younger sister in on the fun. A normal session of my old Wynncraft days involved doing quests or level grinding just for the sake of level grinding.
Wynncraft doesn't have an overarching story or much of a central driving force beyond whatever you motivate yourself to do.
There are endgame dungeons and PvP opportunities to partake in, but that'll be on you to seek out.
This is in contrast to some of the games we'll talk about later, which have main story quests which add an element of single-player gaming into the MMO mix.
The writing of the quests vary wildly, since some are as old as the game itself and rely on technology that's just as old, but there are also new quests that have significantly better writing. A lot of the old quests have also been modernized, so it's nice to see effort being put forth to bring everything up to the new standards. Sometime around 2015 or 2016, I stopped playing Wynncraft for no reason in particular. I dabbled in it here and there afterwards, but it wasn't until 2022 when I started playing Wynncraft regularly again to make Let's Play videos.
These videos consisted of me and a co-host running around, doing quests, exploring dungeons, and overall, just having a good time.
My Wynncraft videos were pretty popular in all honesty, and the community was very friendly and welcoming. By this time, the game had changed a lot. New mechanics such as a skill tree were added, the amazing music was revamped, and a new server-sided texture pack refreshed the look of the game, alongside many other systems being fleshed out in ways I never thought possible in Minecraft.
All things come to an end though, and, at least for now, my Wynncraft days are on pause.
I really do like and respect what Wynncraft is doing though, and I highly encourage you to check the game out for yourself if you're an MMO fan who also has a Java Minecraft account.
The gameplay isn't as deep or complex as a traditional MMO, but for what it is, a game within a game, the experience is incredible.
After my first bout with Wynncraft wrapped up, I was MMO free until the end of my 8th grade year, when I started playing OldSchool RuneScape. OSRS, as it's commonly referred to, is not a game I should have fallen into playing. Being a recreation of the 2007 version of RuneScape, OldSchool RuneScape was revitalized when Jagex responded to the very vocal player base who didn't like the direction that the new version of RuneScape, known as RuneScape 3, was going.
I don't know that much about the disastrous transition between RuneScape 2 and 3. I don't even know if I should call it disastrous. But I do know that OldSchool RuneScape is far more popular than the supposed sequel, and that says a lot.
Like Wynncraft, there is no goal in OldSchool RuneScape. There are a lot of different playstyles, but there isn't any main piece of content that drives your playtime. Some people like to PvP, others like to do quests. There's a thriving economy that some people, against the TOS, make real money off of, and there are over 20 different skills to level up. Being someone who liked doing the same tasks over and over again, with the sole reward being a number incrementing by 1, I found myself frequently skilling in OSRS, but I did quests too. Mostly for the skill XP.
My first exposure to OldSchool RuneScape was a live stream, where the streamer was running an agility course over and over again while reacting to ghost and alien videos. In other words, it was a modern Twitch stream. It looks something like this.
I have encountered many paranormal activities in my life, but none as severe as this one. The tale of Radley Todd. Me and my friend visited this abandoned hospital where Radley Todd once resided.
Yo, Domano 107, thanks for the 10 gifted, man. Appreciate it.
My friend felt hands on his back. I grabbed the UV flashlight, and I see Radley Todd's giant
Dude, this video's getting crazy.
We decided to run. We could not be in that place for any longer than we were already in there for. Next thing you know, I turn around. My friend drops dead. He was strangled by Radley Todd. The adrenaline in my body
Chat, what I missed?
made me
What I missed,
rush
chat? What I missed?
straight out of the hospital.
What's going on here?
I
He's like,
couldn't be in there any longer.
ghosting?
That was freaking awesome, and I wanted to do it myself. The only way to play RuneScape while watching ghost videos on a second screen, however, is to play RuneScape. As such, I dodged an 8th grade graduation party at a community pool to make an OldSchool RuneScape account.
For a long time, I played OSRS without paying for a membership.
This meant I had access to a small part of the world, a fraction of the quests, and about half the skills in the game. I did every free-to-play quest over time, but between those, I spent my time doing the 3 greatest free-to-play skills ever created: fishing, spellcasting, and woodcutting. On the rare occasion I purchased membership for a month, I went hard on agility, thieving, and spinning flax into bowstrings to attempt to make some gold. There was also this beach where you could throw knives at sand crabs to quickly level up your ranged attack stat, but I forgot where it was. That's something I did too.
And while doing all of these things, I was watching ghost and alien videos. It was a really fun time.
Although I wonder how much of that I can attribute to OSRS itself, and how much credit the videos deserve.
While I spent a lot of time on RuneScape, I can't particularly say it was something I enjoyed doing on its own.
I remember waking up on the weekends, grabbing my laptop and hitting the agility course, but I don't know what drove me to do that besides sheer obligation.
I'd paid for a month of membership, so I'd want to get everything I possibly could out of it.
As soon as the membership was up, I'd usually put the game down for a while. It must have been fun in the moment, otherwise why would I keep playing it? But I seriously don't know how I had a good time playing this game.
I guess that's the point of this whole thing though.
How did the MMO genre go from one of my biggest time sinks to something I don't see myself ever doing again? We've got a few more games to talk about before I can reach that conclusion. June 9th, 2017 was when I purchased my next MMO, The Elder Scrolls Online. In particular, I picked up the game right when the Morrowind DLC released. I remember seeing ads for the DLC on Twitch, and somehow the topic came up with my dad, and I got the game.
I believe it was my first M-rated game, but don't quote me on that.
I also distinctly remember getting peeved having to sit through the Morrowind DLC ad every single time it came up after buying it, since the ad worked and now had no power over me.
Funnily enough, I'd come to feel that way about the entire Elder Scrolls Online game in due time.
How exactly do I describe The Elder Scrolls Online? It's 100% not an Elder Scrolls game that's also online. I can say that much. I went in thinking it'd be Skyrim, but with friends, and it wasn't that at all, which I think is a good thing. Even though I played my first few months of ESO in first-person mode, it wasn't long before I realized exactly what I had signed up for and started locking in with third-person mode, bar rotations, and stuff like that. I got started with this game on my Mac, but eventually moved over to playing on PS4 in 2018, which is bizarre to think this was less than a year after I bought the game the first time. Questing was the name of the game here, and getting immersed in the world was super easy thanks to every character being properly voice acted.
When I reflect on my time spent on ESO, I feel like the reason why I liked it so much was because it played a lot like a traditional game in terms of a narrative.
I'm not entirely sure where it goes, but ESO does have a main story quest which begins with Soul Shriven in Cold Harbor, and there's also overarching quests in each DLC, or so I'm told. Most nights after school, I'd boot up my PlayStation and play a few quests before bed. Occasionally I ran dungeons or did delves, but mostly I played the game without interacting with people.
I basically played all my MMOs like that, and maybe that's why they fell out of favor with me.
Flash forward a few months, and I literally cannot stand ESO. Seriously, the game makes me feel ill to look at, and I'm not being dramatic. Side story, but I used to watch a speedrunner who stopped running a game I liked to watch, and his reason was that he played it so much that it made him feel sick to look at. I thought he was over-exaggerating, and then I hit that wall with ESO. Even today, just playing to get some footage, I was really struggling.
In order to fall deep into an MMO again, I needed something vastly different.
I needed a more focused game, with deeper combat than ESO's and a true blue narrative to dive into. I found that in my next MMO, Final Fantasy XIV. Of all the MMOs I've played, FF14 is probably the biggest, most complex one yet, both in terms of mechanics, narrative, and community engagement.
As always, I never got too into the sauce of the community or the mechanics, but I did gobble up the story one MSQ at a time.
The inclusion of cutscenes and dialogue with your character went a long way in making the game feel like it was your adventure. On top of that, the music was great and there were a lot of activities to partake in. The Golden Saucers minigames, skills to level up like in RuneScape, and the par for the course side quests and dungeons were nice to have, but the main story quest was really what kept me going on FF14. I beat the A Realm Reborn main story a handful of times across the couple of accounts that I had, and I think my furthest account went through Shadowbringers too. I lost interest in Final Fantasy XIV over time, but I don't have the same I will never go back mentality as I do with most of the other MMOs I've played.
Unfortunately, the last two MMOs I played didn't fare so well.
At some point in my gaming career, I played Star Wars The Old Republic for a little bit. I can't for the life of me remember anything about SWTOR at all, so I won't talk much about it.
I like Star Wars, I liked MMOs, it only made sense to combine the two fascinations together. I guess it didn't work out?
I don't know, let's talk about something I actually do remember.
In my senior year of high school, Blizzard released World of Warcraft Classic, and it took the internet by storm.
As someone who had never played WoW, but was always looking for a way in, buying a $14.99 subscription at peak hype felt like a no-brainer. After a month of playing pretty much every day to maximize the value out of my subscription, I came to the conclusion that I do not understand World of Warcraft at all.
It was exciting to be caught up in the wave online, but I can't remember a single meaningful thing I did across my month of membership. And it wasn't from a lack of playtime, believe me.
I distinctly remember skipping out on social events with my high school friends to play more WoW, so the time commitment was there. When my membership expired, it was just like RuneScape, where I had no desire to renew and continue playing. Delving into the most well-known, genre-defining MMO of all time and feeling lukewarm about it was an eye-opening thing.
My lackluster experience with World of Warcraft Classic was when I finally realized that I didn't like MMOs anymore.
After some introspection, I discovered that the reason why I didn't like the genre was staring me directly in the face. Compare Final Fantasy VII to Final Fantasy XIV. What keeps you playing FF7? It certainly isn't the thought of grinding levels or running laps around the world to take pickles to an NPC or to defeat an arbitrary amount of spiders, at least not for me.
There is so little substance in an MMO unless you self-motivate yourself to do something, and I just don't have it in me to do that anymore.
When I think of the MMOs that successfully held my attention for a long time, it's never the traditional MMO gameplay that entices me.
RuneScape had the ghost and alien videos on the side, and I was making videos and playing with a co-host on Wynncraft.
ESO had a bit of story, but Final Fantasy XIV was literally a Final Fantasy game just with other players around you.
As I've grown older, I've discovered that video games have to provide me with some form of satisfaction without me having to pry it free.
That's a bit of an exaggeration, but I think it summarizes my feelings fairly accurately. Why would I spend an hour getting half an XP bar closer to leveling up a RuneScape skill when I could play something like Octopath Traveler and make tangible progress towards completing the game? It's obviously a personal choice, but I no longer find satisfaction in wandering around a world trying to find a quest just to skip all the dialogue or to locate a new mining spot to click for the next 45 minutes.
I think now, even if I had the same amount of free time as I did when I was younger, I wouldn't want to spend it all on an MMO.
In high school, I came to the same conclusion about FPS and Battle Royale games. I'd feel so empty inside after spending hours and hours playing Fortnite with nothing to show for it once the sun went down.
Simply put, there are more exciting things to do in the gaming world than clocking hours into an MMO, waiting for your ship to come in.
If that's your thing, more power to you. It's just not mine anymore.
Lately, my favorite activity has been way more fulfilling than playing an MMO, although it does take roughly the same amount of time. I just feel so much more fulfilled after a nice session of, well, maybe I should just show you.
Grow! Grow! Grow!